I saw an ad for a DJI camera slider and I had the exact same thought I always have when I see something cool and expensive. Oh god, I think I'm gonna have to buy that. And it always goes the same way. Something promises to change my life and I start imagining all of the ways in which it would make everything better. And then the idea turns into an obsession and the only way to get it to stop is to just buy it. But this time, it was different. A few months ago I decided to go all in on YouTube. And after 5 months, it's safe to say that my savings are a distant memory. So buying one wasn't really an option, but why do I feel like I even need one in the first place? With just me, a camera and a tripod, trying to get nice dynamic shots of me building isn't really possible. So the idea that I could just automate a camera is very appealing. So if I can't buy one, maybe I should just make one. There was one problem. I had zero money for parts and basically no experience in electronics. I had an old 3D printer that was so slow it was basically unusable. So in my head, I already had a camera slider. It was just in a different form. I don't know how to make a camera slider, but I do know the printer has everything I need to be able to make it. All I have to do is just start working on it and figure it out as I go along. I did have some doubt. I was confident that I'd be able to work out the mechanical side eventually, but this whole project relied on the fact that I needed to be able to write custom firmware and be able to upload that to the printer's original control board. And to be honest, I had no idea whether that was even possible, so I decided just to ignore that for now. I took some aluminium extrusion and V-slot wheels and designed a little platform for my camera to sit on. You know, I've always wondered why it takes so long for me to complete a project, and honestly, after watching this video, I think I know why. I did this for 10 minutes before I decided to pull my finger out my ass and design something that would actually help me move the base plate. I had two options for moving the camera, a lead screw or a belt, and I chose belt because I thought it'd be easier to design for. I put a hole down the center of the base plate so the belt could reach each pulley, and tabs on either side that would clamp it down with 3M screws. And then I spent exactly 2 hours learning how to model a GT2 pulley before I realised there was a plugin that just did it in one click. Well, the screen's come on, it still thinks it's a printer, so that's good. So as it turns out, the printer wasn't really a fan of moving without 90% of the parts, but I did find software called Gerbil that would let me move it one axis at a time, and this really gave me confidence that maybe this wasn't going to be too hard. The pan axis was where I started to realise it may not be as easy as I first thought. Getting something to slide was one thing, but trying to get it to rotate, and then rotate with my camera on and all the motors and find somewhere for the wires to go, but then still have it strong so it won't just come apart. That's kind of where my brain started to check out. My first big mistake was designing everything around the base plate. I picked the first idea that made sense, a big central bearing bolted together so the pan axis felt solid. With nowhere for the wires to go, I probably should have predicted that would be a problem. Yeah. Yes. Okay, we have rotation. So that's Y is rotation. What's X? Hey, X is tilt. And then that must mean that Z is the belt. Oh, everything's wet! I just blew up the board. It stinks. I don't know what I did, but something blew up. I think I actually hate electronics. It goes from being, oh, this is the coolest thing in the world, to it's dead. Everything's dead. It's over. Spend more money or give up. This was a particularly low point in the build. With the board gone and no money to buy parts, the project was dead. And if I was going to save it, I was going to have to sell something I loved. It was rough watching someone else drive it away. But I'm really trying to make this YouTube thing work, and right now that means backing myself even if it feels stupid. And if selling the car allows me to keep building, keep filming and keep moving forward, then that's just what I had to do. So if the project's not dead, let's buy all of the things I should have bought at the beginning and get this slider back on track, baby! Connect the Arduino, press H, and it should home. Shit! Stop! Stop! I've set point A, which is there. I've set this as point B, and I've set the amount of time I want it to take. So now when I put in run A and B, it should go back to the start and then run the sequence and hopefully loop. Oh, that's so cool! And it was cool, but it was now time to see what kind of buttery smooth shots I had just unlocked. From my perspective, it looks super smooth. I was sending videos to me friends. I thought I was done. It was only when I looked back at the footage did it look like my cameraman had MS. That led to about another week of troubleshooting, and luckily for me, it was just that I needed to fix everything. The list of problems include my motor drivers didn't have enough micro steps, had to buy new ones. My gantry was too flimsy, I had to redesign and reprint again and again and again and again and again. The belts that I glued together surprisingly kept breaking. Firmware didn't have any motion smoothing, and even when it did, it turns out I hadn't calculated the pulley ratios. The bearings had too much slop and were causing the axes to bind, and I hadn't designed anywhere for the wires or electronics to live on the gantry. Oh, and the real fun one was figuring out why all of the axes would arrive at different times. And after a few days of pulling my hair out, I found out the Arduino has a pulse limit. And I don't know what that is, but I was hitting it. So does it work? Well, yeah, kind of. And I'll show you the shots that I managed to get in a minute. There still are some pretty fundamental issues. I never did figure out the wiring. That early design decision to put a central bolt in the middle meant there just really wasn't anywhere for the wires to go. And I did add this D-Wall battery, which makes it infinitely more portable. But I still have to use my laptop to program it because all of the ports are being taken up by the CNC shield. Speaking of the Arduino, I am still hitting the pulse limit. That's how many signals it can send to the driver at any one time, and if I'm just using one axis, it's completely fine. If I use all three, they just arrive out of sync. But I'm hoping this is going to help me fix 90% of the problems. But I can't do it in this video because I'm already way behind my video schedule. So if you're interested in seeing how I take this from a prototype into something actually usable, then hit the subscribe button. Other than that, let me know what you think of the shots.